Hello everyone, and welcome to another segment of the Kevin Dunn Show, where we are going to be talking about weight loss today, the pros and cons of weight loss, and we have a very special guest who's going to be talking about weight loss, and none other than Dr. Nyshadham, who specializes in weight loss. First, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and get right into the topic and show you what is healthy and unhealthy about losing weight. Doctor, welcome to the Kevin Dunn Show.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor now.
So how are you today?
With the grace of God, doing very well. And you?
I'm doing wonderful. So we're going to be discussing weight loss today?
Yes.
So how long have you been specializing in weight loss?
Well, I started primary care in Valley, Alabama in 1987.
Okay.
And within 2 to 3 years, I gravitated towards weight loss surgery and weight loss medicine. Okay. So I would say now over 20 years.
Over 20 years?
Yes.
Okay. You said something very interesting outside when I was talking with you. You said you maintained your same weight for over 40 years.
Yes, I weighed 150 pounds when I was 16 years of age, and now I'm 57. So it's over 40 years, and I still weigh 150.
That's incredible. So it can be done.
It can be done.
And you are living proof.
Well, a lot of hard work has to go into it. A lot of discipline has to go into it.
Okay.
And of course, you have to have that burning desire to keep it where it is.
So you said burning desire. How have you maintained to keep that desire for all these years?
Well, I was always physically active.
Okay.
Right from my medical school days, and later on, after I finished my training, I've always been, active in sport. And I started working out regularly once I got settled into practice. Okay. So I pretty much exercise every single day. Okay. So barring those days when I'm traveling, there's not a day that goes by where I don't do something physical. So on an average, out of 365 days, I would say that I exercise at least 330 to 340 days.
Wow, that's incredible. And you're committed to do
that? Yes, the way I look at it is God gives us only one body, and it's up to the individual to look after it. I mean, it's not like an automobile where you can go to spare parts and go get some carburetors, and this is all you have, and this is all up to you to look after it.
Exactly. He was given to you, so you have to take care of that temple.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when someone says, I want to lose weight, what are they actually saying? If you look at the human body, you could probably pretty much classify that into 3 frames: small frame, medium frame, and large frame. Okay. Now, the American College of Bariatric Physicians, which is the college that is dedicated towards weight care management, they have actually given ideal weights according to ages and according to sexes and the frames. Now, when a person says he wants to lose weight, what you need to suggest to him is, taking his height and his sex into consideration, you want to put him into the range where the median person of good health is going to be in the nation. Okay. And so one other way of looking at that is also called body mass index. Okay. Body mass index is a ratio of your body surface as a numerator and your weight as a denominator. Okay. And for men folk, your body mass index should be 18 to 24. Okay. And for women folk, it should be 24 to 32. Okay. So if you fall into that range, then you are in the healthy range. Okay. Anything less than that, you're underweight. Okay. And the majority of us are over that. Okay. Obesity in America is a severe problem. And I've actually heard people from other countries say that Americans are some of the largest people in the world. Why is that a common problem here in the United States, obesity? And
why do you think that that's a common problem here?
Well, first of all, the statement that you made is very true.
Okay.
It is very unfortunate, but it's also very true.
Okay.
Couple of the major reasons why Americans are overweight, primarily probably the largest reason of that is the supersized quality of our meals.
Okay.
We eat everything in large proportions. Number two, the quality of the food itself. We're a very fast-paced society. We're probably one of the leading, most industrialized nations in the world. And so the pace of life is very hectic.
Okay.
So that sort of mitigates your attempts to fix meals.
Okay.
It is much easier to eat on the fly. And the concept of what is called fast food probably originated in the United States.
Okay.
It is our sort of a matter of chagrin that this is the biggest single contribution when it comes to foodstuff to the world,
Okay.
fast food. And unfortunately what happens is fast food is tasty because it's greasy.
Okay.
And so it becomes like a vicious cycle. You can never get out of it because it tastes good and you can eat it on the fly and it is cheap. For instance, McDonald's has got what is known as the dollar menu.
Right.
You cannot get food stuff anywhere in the world for a single dollar.
Right. Right.
And so that makes it very attractive, especially amongst people who are relatively impoverished, who not relatively well-to-do in terms of finances. So it becomes very easy and convenient.
Okay.
The third thing, unfortunately, also is our lack of physical exercise and our sedentary habits. Now, as you know, gas has become very expensive.
Yes,
it's become prohibitive. Majority of the countries in the world, people of any nationality cannot afford gas like we do in America.
Wow.
We are a rich nation. So even though it's now close to $4, we still drive everywhere.
Still drive, exactly.
We don't walk. Now, if you go to Europe, you will not see too many cars. People walk everywhere. And so they are lean and thin and look like greyhounds, where we don't do any activity and eat bad food,
Okay.
and we gain weight.
Wow. So the mindset is totally different in Europe.
It is.
Wow.
It is. And for cultural reasons,
Okay.
and also Europeans eat far healthier than we do.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard the Mediterranean diet.
Okay.
It is probably one of the best diets. The emphasis there is on fish
Okay.
and on green leafy vegetables.
Okay. Okay.
And that's very hard to impart to people in our country, eating leafy vegetables.
Okay. Now, is that more cost efficient for them to eat that way as well, or the food costs?
I think it's cultural.
Okay, cultural. Okay.
And it's handed over from generation to generation.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And of course, fast food has come everywhere, but it's still frowned upon and condoned upon in other parts of the world.
Okay.
Whereas it becomes a part of one's lifestyle in the United States.
Okay. Okay. What are the top 3 areas in the body that retains the most weight?
There is a term called central obesity,
Okay.
which is probably the worst kind, where you gain adiposity or you gain fat tissue around your waist. That probably is the most dangerous, and also the last bit of fat that you can get rid of. When you start losing weight, you start losing weight elsewhere.
Okay.
And the waist is the last portion to respond
Okay.
to whatever maneuvers you're doing.
Okay. Okay. So what are the pros to losing weight?
Well, it was not meant for the human frame to carry more than a certain amount of weight.
Okay.
And so, as you get older, most of the body gets affected by weight. Your heart gives out, your lungs give out, your joints are affected. So obesity pretty much affects every portion of your body.
Okay. Okay.
And by virtue of that, it becomes that much more important for one to keep one's weight in the normal frame, because you are then, in the long run, putting less burden on the various systems of the body by doing so.
Okay. So you shared some of the cons as well as far as losing weight. So can it be dangerous to lose weight? Or it just depends on the individual?
you know, losing weight to the point of anorexia or bulimia is
Okay.
dangerous.
Okay.
But losing weight to get down to what is your ideal weight for the height and sex
Okay.
is healthy.
Okay. Okay. All right. So explain why starving yourself is not a good idea, because I actually used to think, my wife, for example, I would think that if we didn't eat, we would actually lose weight. But as years went by, come to find out that it's not healthy for you to actually starve yourself.
Kevin, you made an excellent point there. Unfortunately, what happens is prolonged periods of starvation will burn your muscle first. The fat is the last portion to be burned.
Okay.
So you're wasting your muscle by starving.
Okay.
And conversely, by eating small meals several times a day,
Okay.
you're keeping your metabolic fires burning. You're
Okay.
keeping the body working.
Okay.
And so ideally, you should be eating small quantities every 3 hours,
Okay.
starting within an hour waking up
Okay.
and quitting 3 hours before bedtime.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. Incredible. We're going to have to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and we're going to be discussing some healthy ways to lose weight right after these messages. Welcome back to the Kevin Dunn Show, where we are talking with Dr. Nyshadham about weight loss. And right now we're going to ask Doctor, what are some healthy ways to lose weight?
I will discuss this under 3 headings:
Okay.
medicine, diet, and exercise.
Okay.
Keep in mind that perhaps in order of importance, I've said it just the opposite.
Okay.
So let me rephrase that: exercise, diet, and medications.
Okay.
Let me start with medicines. I offer 4 medicines in our practice:
Okay.
an appetite suppressant pill, a fat blocker, which blocks the absorption of grease in your gut
Okay.
and the food that you eat,
Okay.
and finally 2 injections of B12,
Okay.
which gives you energy,
Okay.
and lipo-white, which is a combination of elements and amino acids that are normally present in the body but not in sufficient quantities,
Okay.
that helps to burn fat on the outside, but the caveat is coupled with exercise.
Okay.
And so these are 4 tools in terms of medicines that we use. I give my patients liberty to choose amongst them.
Okay.
Logic will tell you that doing all 4 gives you the best results,
Okay.
but then one has to look at one's pocketbook too.
Okay. Okay.
Next, we come to a diet. Again, what I try to do with my patients is not make it very rigorous, not make it very confining. I give them a choice of good foodstuffs,
Okay.
and I tell them to do their groceries very carefully, keeping 3 principles in mind. Most of the food that you eat and buy, or buy and eat, should be as close to sugar-free,
Okay.
fat-free,
Okay.
and low-calorie as possible.
Okay.
If you make this too confining, human nature is such that you will rebel.
Okay. All right.
It should not be a punishment.
Okay.
It should actually give you the freedom of choosing food, albeit healthy, but choosing it yourself so you at least get the feeling that you are eating what you like. And so I will break it down into good choices. I prefer that you get your protein from lean meat.
Okay.
Unfortunately, commercial poultry is very saturated in fat. They put steroids in there, and
Yeah.
growth hormones. They
Wow.
make the chicken look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but there's a whole lot of baggage that comes with that chicken. So
Okay.
I prefer that you get it lean. If it's homegrown, it's far more healthy. If it's organic, it's far more healthy. But in general, I prefer that you get your protein from either protein powder mixed in water or good protein bars.
Okay.
Now, there are a million protein bar products out there. One has to carefully shop so you get as close to sugar-free, fat-free, and low-calorie as possible.
Okay.
Besides lean protein, vegetables are very important.
Okay.
They're a very important source of minerals and vitamins, and you have to have that balance in your life. In general, probably a 40-40-20 diet is healthy.
Okay.
40% protein,
Okay.
40% complex carbohydrates, and 20% fats.
Okay.
The more time you spend in determining what's going into your body, the better it is for you.
Okay. So it's a psychological thing.
Absolutely. And it's also choice. It's a lifestyle choice that you make in determining what goes in to your body. Finally, and the most important element is exercise. Now, there is no maximum in what a person can do, but it also depends on one's capability. But keep in mind that cardiovascular will improve your circulation. It'll strengthen your heart, strengthen your lungs. And resistance training, which is extremely important, will build and tone muscles and utilize the conversion of protein into muscle.
Incredible.
And so that becomes the cornerstone of what it is. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we're looking for easy ways of doing things, shortcuts.
Exactly.
But when it comes to weight loss, you have to sweat it out.
Sweat it out. Okay. I know some of our listeners are saying, Doctor, I hear what you're saying. I really do. But it's so hard. So if you, and you've already expounded upon this a little bit, but if someone would just, why is it so hard to lose weight? I can put it on so easily.
Yes.
But why is it so hard for me to get these pounds off?
I think the combination of two most important factors is, number one, the motivation to exercise. Exercise can be boring. But you have to make it, you have to devise your own method of making it into a fun-filled effort. Listen to music while you're walking on a treadmill, or stick a television in front of your treadmill. Find a companion. So there are several ways of offsetting the tedium of exercise. Now, I enjoy playing racquetball. To me, it's entertainment as well as exercise rolled into one. And I'm sure that given anybody's set of circumstances, you can find something that you will actually enjoy doing. One other thing is to join a class. It's more fun. You interact with people, like do a Zumba class. There are actually classes where they do Billy he's the Taibo, the kickboxer kind of. And that's a wonderful video. You put music into it, and you're actually enjoying yourself while you're sweating it out. So the key is to find ways of looking forward to doing it rather than shirking away from it. And of course, the most important thing is to buy your groceries carefully and eat carefully. If you don't have bad food at home, you can't eat it. So spend a little more time doing your groceries.
And I understand what you're saying too with the exercising part, because I don't like using the treadmill, so I like running the streets. I don't like the track. The track is boring, so I jog the streets, so that kind of helps me out. And this leads up to a question I have, and you just touched on that. How do I conquer my food cravings? And I know I go through periods of time where at night certain foods just calls my name. So how do you conquer those food cravings?
Unfortunately, Kevin, you and everybody else has got the same problem. One way of doing it is to eat on the dot, on the clock, every 3 hours, small quantities, 6 times a day. This will then prevent the desire to eat that huge meal. Typically what happens is the majority of us work very hard during the day. 6, 7, 8 hours, and you're working in places where you're not even allowed to get out and eat. And then finally, 8 hours later, you go home. Now you've got a fridge full of food and all the time in the world to eat it. And that is very bad for you. So what you need to do is, even if it's tiny quantities, like maybe a protein bar, maybe pieces of fruit, every 3 hours, force yourself. We're surrounded by gadgets today in the 21st century. Use one to remind you. A cell phone perhaps, or an alarm clock. And eat on the dot, on the clock, every 3 hours, and drink 10 ounces of water. That will also fill up space and prevent your hunger. So that's the way to do it.
And so that helps you out psychological too as well, or?
Well, it ought to. Of course, there is always medicine. The class of medicines that suppress your appetite are central nervous system stimulants. What they do is they stimulate your brain so much that your brain is agog and you don't think about food. And but The caveat with that is you don't want to be on those medicines forever.
All right, all right.
So you do it about 4 to 5 months at the most.
Okay.
This will give you a boost. It'll set you up on a schedule. And then, as I said, you have to learn to eat every 3 hours, smaller quantities.
Okay, I'm going to try that. I don't know how successful I'll be, but I'm going to try it. I think we have time maybe for one more question. And I'm going to give the viewers a little cushion here. I'm going to say, is it, do you gain weight eating after 8 o'clock? And I know most people probably say 6, but...
Right. I think the key is not the time or the cutoff of a clock, but the key is 3 to 3.5 hours before bedtime.
Okay.
You can drink in that amount, but not eat.
Okay.
For many reasons. Of course, if you eat and get into bed, that food just sits there and gives your body more time to absorb.
Okay.
If you eat and do activity, the food will pass faster down and out of your system. So this is just sheer, laws of digestion.
Okay.
And number 2, it also sets you up for reflux.
Okay.
So the food that's going into your stomach will regurgitate up into your gullet, into your mouth, and cause other problems as well.
Okay, all right.
So 3 to 3.5 hours is the cutoff.
Okay, well, great. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for being a guest on the Kevin Dunn Show. And I know you have enlightened a lot of our viewers and listeners on what will help them to continue to lose weight. And just thank you so much for your time. And we have to bring you back because weight loss is an all-day long topic. So, but I'm glad for you to have been here today, and I really appreciate you.
I thank you for having me, Kevin. The pleasure was mine.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another segment of the Kevin Dunn Show, where we are going to be talking about weight loss today, the pros and cons of weight loss. And we have a very special guest who's going to be talking about weight loss, and none other than Dr. Nyshadham, who specializes in weight loss. First, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and get right into the topic and show you what is healthy